If you're experiencing a lot of behavioral issues, maybe some big feelings, maybe some aggression, some not listening, you want to ask yourself, okay, how are my routines doing, right? How have I been doing a good job of, keeping their environment stable and predictable? And if not, how can I get back on track? Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Dr. Jasmine. I am a clinical psychologist as well as a mom of 2 little girls. Around here, we talk about positive parenting, child development, and how to keep our own sanity as parents. And before we dive into this video, I just want to share with you guys that my private parent coaching community called the Mom Sisterhood will be reopening soon to those who are on the wait list. And so it includes, with your membership, you get monthly classes, Q&A calls with me, private membership where you get access to me as well as a group of amazing women. We also have exclusive podcast episodes and so much more. So make sure you hop on the wait list so that you're the first to know when I reopen the doors, which will be only for a limited time. Now, speaking of the Mom Sisterhood, I got a good question the other day from a member inside the community, and she talked about how she's feeling so nervous for her little one to start a new school. And so this mom is nervous, right? And that's okay, right? Like I said, change makes us all feel stressed, even if it's exciting change, right? Like starting a new school that we know will be amazing for their development. It can still bring a lot of fears to us, a lot of anxiety. So number 1 tip is to process and explore that anxiety, right? And to try our best to feel confident. And I think that comes with preparing ourselves for the change, and then preparing our little ones for the change. But it's so important to realize that little ones can sense if we're feeling nervous or anxious or scared about change, and that's going to color how they experience the change as well, right? If they sense that we're nervous, right, we have all these fears, well, guess what? They're gonna walk into school feeling afraid too. And we don't mean for it to be this way, but it's so important to realize that and to manage it. So it's okay for you to feel nervous, but do your best to present in a way to your child that's you're excited, you're looking forward to this, and that it's okay to be nervous, and mommy's a little nervous too, but this is how I'm going to work through my feelings. That's so important, right? It's okay to say, look, I'm feeling a little nervous too, right? It's a new place, new people, there's a lot of change, but this is how I'm going to get through this, right? This is why we're doing this, right? We're doing this because, and start reminding yourself, reminding them why this is important to you, all the fun things that they will do at school, and also validating it's okay to be nervous. I think that's a great place to start. And doing the work on your own to process that anxiety, right? So that you're not inadvertently passing that on to your child is so important. And this is with any change. So whether it's a new sibling, right? A new job, a new work schedule, a new school. So I'm kind of using her example about school, but just know this is change across the board, right? Whether you're moving to a new home, you've experienced some kind of change in your family system, or anything in between that, okay? Make sure you process out your own feelings, your own anxieties, your own worries, your own sadness and grief because of the change, and then help your child do the same. And always validate, yes, I get it. Change is scary, right? Change is hard. Let's talk about it. Let's keep this conversation going. I want to hear how you feel, and it's okay. Fundamentally, you want to teach your child, or you want to send that message to them, it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling, but it's important that we talk about it, right? And that we work through it. It's okay to feel those feelings. Number 2, start the conversation early. So as soon as you sense that change is up on the horizon, you don't want to avoid talking to them about it. So for this mom, she's like, okay, I know that he's going to be starting soon. Well, my number 1 or number 2 tip would be to start talking to him about this early, right? Sooner rather than later, because you want to give them time to mentally prepare, for it to mentally sink in, for them to have opportunities to ask you questions questions, which is number 3, right? Invite them to ask you questions. Answer all their questions. And if you don't know the answer to their question, say something like, wow, that's such a great question. I'm so glad you asked. Let's go find the answer together. Or, you know what? I'm going to do some research, and as soon as I get some more information, you're going to be the first person I tell, right? So you want to start that conversation early so that then you can start to answer their questions. Number 4 is you want to let them know what to expect. So along the same lines of starting that conversation, answering their questions, you want to walk them through the process. So for example, if it's starting a new school, you want to let them know what to expect in terms of the new routine. You want to let them know what to expect in terms of their teacher. If you know, sometimes we don't have all the details, and that's okay. But as much as you can piece together, right? I know it's, right now we're in different times, and maybe, every location is different, but maybe you're able to give them a tour, right? Kind of warm them up to the process. Maybe drive there and drive back and do that a couple times, maybe on the weekends or after work or wherever, where you're like, okay, let's go visit your new school. We're starting soon. Yay! This is the route we're going to take to school, right? You want to, basically what you're doing is warming them up, letting them know what to expect about whatever change that is. If you're going to move, then you want to let them know what to expect when it comes to your new home and where it is and what it's going to look like if you know, right? Looking at pictures together, talking about what you can do in your new home, and where they might want to decorate and put their little creative spin on things, or what they might want in their room. So again, you're answering their questions, letting them know what to expect, keeping the conversation going as soon as possible. Okay, you don't want to avoid this and wait until the last minute, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's right, we're starting new school on Monday, yay! No. You want to give them as much of a heads up as possible, ideally. Of course, we don't always have this luxury, but when you do, take it, okay? Number 5 is to read children's book about that topic. So for example, if they were starting a new school, you could read children's books about characters starting a new school. And I'm happy to share some links down below in my bookshop.org page on some book recommendations that I have for that topic of starting a new school. But whatever topic it is, right? Getting a new sibling, or moving to a new place, or even the death of a loved one, right? You want to open up the conversation through children's books. Children's books are one of my favorite ways to help children process things, keep that conversation open and ongoing, to help them feel like they're less alone, to normalize the feelings that come up in these various, concerns like having a new sibling or going to a new school, right? To really normalize it and help them identify with the character. They hopefully can see themselves in that character, and hopefully the book, a good children's book, will walk them through how to cope with that feeling, which is a great teaching tool. So I'm such a big fan of children's books, and I actually just did a haul about my favorite children's book on on managing feelings and identifying feelings. So be sure to check that video out if you haven't already after this video. But again, you just want to open up the conversation through children's books on whatever topic is relevant for your child. Number 6 is get them involved as much as possible, okay? So not only do you want to open up the conversation, get the dialogue going, invite them to ask you questions, but you want to get them involved in the process. This will really help children feel mentally prepared when they feel like they're an active participant in the process, right? It's not something that's happening to them, but they have a part in it, right? So if it's, starting a new school, maybe they can get involved in packing up their new backpack, right? And putting all kinds of things, their favorite things. Maybe they can add a comfort item into their backpack that's just for school, and they can be involved in that process. Maybe they can make a photo album of their favorite photos that they can look at school if they want to, right? If they feel the need to have some comfort, that they can kind of, get involved in that process, right? Take some agency. Again, if you're moving to a new home, maybe they can be involved in picking out some new furniture or decorating a part of the home or helping with gardening. whatever it is, whatever it relates to the change that they're experiencing, you want to ask yourself, okay, how can I get them involved and how can I keep them involved so that this is happening with them, not to them. Okay, tip number 7 is to stick to your routine as much as possible. Now, I know when there is change happening, right, it's very easy for our routines to slip up. And sometimes, it is what it is, right? We're doing the best we can. We might be on survival mode. But I want you to know in the back of your mind that as much as possible, right, as much as you can, you want to stick to those routines because that helps your child feel safe because they can predict what's happening in their environment, right? They're less likely to feel out of control if there is some predictability and stability in their environment. So the routines that you want to try to stick to as much as possible is their sleep schedule, right? So when do they wake up in the morning? When are their naps? When do they go to bed? You also want to keep consistent their eating schedule, right? When do they eat breakfast, snacks, lunch, dinner, all of that. You want to keep that as consistent as possible. Of course, sometimes things happen and that's okay. A lot of the times we're stressed when we're going through changes, but just keep in mind, especially if you're experiencing a lot of behavioral issues, maybe some big feelings, maybe some aggression, some not listening, you want to ask yourself, okay, how are my routines doing, right? How have I been doing a good job of, keeping their environment stable and predictable? And if not, how can I get back on track? And so you want to keep their routines as predictable as possible. And then number 8 is to expect them to have big feelings. Expect them to grieve the loss of what is no longer, right? Like I said in the beginning of this video, change, even if it's exciting change, like welcoming a new sibling, it's stressful, right? Not only is it stressful on us, and I want you to kind of take a moment to put yourself in their shoes, right? Or to reflect back on how you're feeling right now, or maybe how you felt in the past when there was change, right? It was exciting, it was new, you were eager and you were in anticipation, but you're also nervous, right? Or scared, or you maybe didn't know what your new life would look like, right? With all that change. Well, that's how little ones feel, right? Times 10, because their brains are still developing, right? They don't have all of the skills that we have adults to process change and work through it. And so I want you to expect that your child will have big feelings, that they'll push back, that they'll grieve, right? That they'll struggle in some way. And remember, behavior is just their form of communication, right? If your child is struggling with behavioral issues, know that that's their way, and that they're doing the best that they can to communicate to you that something's not right, right? Something's a little off. They're feeling a little shaky and a little wobbly. They might be feeling anxious or scared or nervous, or tense, or unsure of what the future is going to hold and what it's all going to look like. So as much as you can, validate that and really accept it in the process, right? The more you try to fight it back, right, they're gonna be like, no, I have my feelings, right? And my feelings are okay. And that's what you kind of want to just remind yourself, and then also validate back to them, right? Is that it's okay to feel nervous. It's okay, and it's gonna take some time to adjust, and that's okay. I'm right by your side through this, okay? So help them and just expect it, right? We can do everything we possibly can to prepare our child for change, which we should ideally, as best as we can. And also acknowledging that sometimes, our child will still struggle emotionally, and that's okay. It doesn't mean we're on the wrong track, right? It doesn't mean that maybe necessarily we're doing something wrong or that we need to fix the situation. It just means that they need to have their process and they need to grieve. So that is it for this video. I hope that this was helpful. Give me a big thumbs up if you got any value from this video. Let me know down below if there's any other resources that you would like, another video on this particular. I do have on my list to talk about specifically how to welcome new siblings into the home and how to prepare your child, because that's specific, right? And there's some good things that you can do in the months leading up to the change, and also in the weeks when you're in it, to help your child really adjust, because that shakes their whole world. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.